is Ren, and I make videos a couple of times a week about books and pop culture. And following in on my Pride Month videos, I am making a video with loads of non-fiction books discussing trans and non-binary lives. This video is for people that might just be seeking comfort of other people that identify the same as them, or it might be a video that I'm hoping can educate people that might not fully understand but want to understand. Trans people have always existed, they do exist, they will always exist, and the current just full attack on trans people is absolutely not okay and not something which we tolerate. That I do not tolerate any of that. But these books are amazing and really important, and I think are really good in teaching people and also just finding comfort in things as well, and sort of understanding trans history. The first one that I want to share is Them by Harry Josephine Giles, and this is a series of poems. It's a exuberant collection of poems about trans life as it is lived today through the lenses of work, technology and ecology. I absolutely love this. I thought it was really good. Just really nice, like just the poems were so impactful and personal and just so good. I really loved it. It's just a really interesting collection and a really creative collection in the way that this is done. And then we have The Transgender Issue by Sean Fay. This is like an actual proper thing, like facts, and dive into what it is like, what being transgender is, the actual facts surrounding trans rights. And it is so important and such an invaluable book. Like it's so important, and has allowed for such an important space for trans people and to present these actual facts rather than the misinformation that is spread so much. This is so important, and I cannot recommend this enough, and recommend you read this book enough. For anyone, if you want to just understand a little bit more, that is such a phenomenal place to start. And then we have Trans Britain, Our Journey from the Shadows, and this is edited by Christine Burns. This book shows and dives into the history of trans people in Britain, and when people like to come with that argument of, oh, but like when I was a kid, no, trans people have always existed. This shows that. Trans people will always exist. This shows that. And this is a really important showcase of the fact that trans people have always existed. The reason why, right, there are more cases of things, or it seems like there are more cases of things, that people think there are more queer people in the world, that's not because it's a trend or it's something that is popular and people are going to change their minds in a few years. It's because there's more human rights now, right? People didn't come out before because they could be severely harmed for it. That's the thing. And even now, it's still illegal in over 60 countries. It's still punishable by death in a scary amount of countries. It's not a trend. It is just people living authentically. This is not saying that there are now more trans people in Britain. It is showing the history of trans Britain and why people now feel like they can come out. And what's awful about that is Britain as a place had actually gotten to a point where we were really actually accepting of LGBTQIA plus people. We'd gotten to a place where we provided support and necessary things, and now we're going backwards, and that is awful. And all you're going to end up doing is just forcing people to not be themselves because they're scared of what's going to happen. And I think this is really good at showing people were met with hostility, but they still existed. This isn't some trend. This isn't someone just wanting to be different or whatever you think it is. This isn't someone being brainwashed. This isn't a mental illness. This isn't that. These are people's lives, and all queer people are trying to do, all trans people are trying to do, is to live their life authentically as the person that they are. We have What's the Tea by Juno Dawson. I've spoken about this before. This is really good, I would say, as well. So it says that your no-nonsense guide to all things trans and or non-binary. And I think this is really good, especially if like you have a younger person in your life that is questioning their gender and has come out to you as transgender or non-binary. I think this is really good, and I also think it's a really good place to start if you're looking for more education or you want a younger person in your life to have more education. I think this is really good. It's broken down really, really well, and in a really digestible way that I think is really, really important. And then we have What's Your Pronoun Beyond He and She by Dennis Barron. It is based on 40 years of empirical research. I'm a science human. I love science, I love research, and I love actual research. I don't follow She Who Should Not Be Named on Twitter anymore, but occasionally I see tweets that she posts. And she retweeted one the other day that someone had screenshotted where someone had said there is no research to show gender affirming care actually is beneficial to the mental health of trans people. So I went on the databases that I used to do my university research for my master's degree, that's in science by the way, and found a huge amount of studies that show that gender affirming care is really beneficial to the mental health of people. They just rely on people not knowing how to do that. This also shows that gender neutral pronouns aren't new. Like, they've been around for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And then we have They, Them, There by Eris Young. This is a guide to non-binary and gender non-conforming identities. Very similar again, goes through, really accessible, breaks down everything in a really digestible way, very up to date, talks a lot about gender identities that are not within that binary of she and her. And then we have None of the Above by Travis Alabanza, Reflections of Life Beyond the Binary. Travis is a black working class non-binary trans person, and in None of the Above, Travis examines several phrases that people have directed them about their gender identity, and goes through those and kind of like flips the mirror on society. And I read this a few years ago, but I absolutely loved it. I thought it was so good and such a like really good insight, and I think is a really good one to read and dive into. And then finally I want to talk about Page Boy by Elliot Page. The thing that I liked about Elliot's transition is that Elliot was very vocal about the privilege that he has, and I really liked that. Some famous trans people, Caitlyn Jenner, who talks very negatively towards members of her own community, which I think is insane, and very much does not acknowledge the fact that they are a multi-millionaire and is able to have every possible surgery that she might want, that has access to medical care that other people don't have. And the thing that I really liked about Elliot is that Elliot was like, yeah, I have privilege and I was able to have like top surgery really quickly. And I really liked that acknowledgement of that, because it is such a huge thing. That money, the financial element is so huge. And just having that access to care is really vital. So I really liked that. But this is a really, really, really good memoir. I think the way that Elliot talks and shares his story is just really, really, really insightful and important. And I think it's one that I think could be educational to people that want to learn a little bit more, just because of kind of the way that they talk about their experiences and everything is really, really, really important. So yeah, I wanted to end the note on that one. So yeah, if you guys have recommendations along the same lines as this, please leave them in the comments so that we can read lots of other ones as well. Like I said, if you're new here, then I make videos a couple of times a week about books and pop culture. Feel free to hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell. And as usual, all the links to my other social medias and my Queer Bookish podcast is in the description as well. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you're doing really, 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 really well, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.